What is going on, YouTube? In today's episode of Rad Dad Life, we're going to be going over my 2016 Iron 883, the Sportster. Yeah, I know, it's the same bike as the last bike and then the bike before that. To be fair, my first bike was 2014. The last one that you guys saw, the gray one, was a 2016. We're still in 2016, but now we're all matte black. We're going to do this thing up bobber style. I already changed up the air intake and the exhaust, and I already put an aftermarket seat by La Pera. It's a 2-up seat. It already got a scratch because I did buy it used. Already got a sissy bar by Viking Bags. It's great. It's their 20-inch bar. Nice little band, really bobber looking. It does come with this little fold-out tray so that I can put my backpack when I do have a passenger. I got the mid-size apes already I put on there. Quad locked like always because I love it. And inverted the mirrors. It's gonna be a fun bike. I will promise I will keep this bike for a lot longer than the last, if not indefinitely. This bike with 3,000 miles on it. I'm at like 4,000 miles now. But today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the speedometer relocation to the side. But except for actually mounting it on the gas tank, we're actually gonna mount it on the fork stanchions itself. We're gonna go ahead and do a tank lift, 1.5 inches. We're gonna go ahead and do a key ignition coil and key ignition relocation to the left side. Oh, I also did buy some passenger pegs. I like these ones. They're pretty pricey, but they look great. The little touches of red look really, really nice. We'll go a little walk through the bike. The only thing I did have the stickers, but you know, I had to add my Rad Dad Life sticker on there. Other than that, it came back to me pretty stock. He did black out the turn signals. It looks good. He blacked out this windshield, which I probably will remove once I get the tank lift in. It's gonna kind of change the style for me, so I'll remove that. I'm gonna remove the fender. I am gonna, like I said, relocate this. This is my first time with La Pera seat. It's super comfortable, actually. Factory shock, so it doesn't break your back. It's pretty terrible, but overall pretty good. The RLNS Big Sucker Stage 1 I installed about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I installed the TBR 2-to-1. They look good. I love the style. I know 2-to-1 is a little bit more horsepower friendly, so I wanted that. Or not horsepower, it's more horsepower, the 2-to-1 over the 2-to-2. So I wanted to try 2-to-1. Last time I went with Vance and Hines, and before that I went straight headers. So best of both worlds. I'll probably will remove this chain guide or the belt drive guard because I like the way the expose of it looks. In my last one, I also did remove this one, so I might remove it. I'll see how it looks, see how it all plays out. Might even exhaust wrap this one of these days because the pipes are already turning a specific color, and that's because obviously I don't have it tuned, so it's probably getting hotter than it's supposed to. All right, first we're gonna start with removing the tank screws. I used to do this really nice with Torx and stuff. I have the Torx, which I'll put back on to the correct torque settings, but removing it, about speed now. This is the third time I've done this tank lift, so I'm definitely gonna value speed over anything else at this point. Up. Next, go ahead and cut all the stuff, all these little zip ties that we got in here. We're gonna expose all the wiring. So, I am not mechanically inclined. I mean, I'm your average worker. I've never taken a mechanic class. I've never done anything professional. I've had some guidance from friends in the past with my first bike ever. And mostly YouTube videos and I guess mental grit to do it. Obviously paying attention to details and knowing that everything will be okay. And worst case scenario, you can always have someone come look at your bike, or you can always take your bike somewhere to fix whatever F up you do. So knowing that going into this, anybody can do this project. It just takes a little bit of patience, maybe some beer, and I don't know, be a man about it and just get it done. That's pretty much what it all chalks up to being, is just getting it done. YouTube helps out a whole bunch. It also helps out knowing that this bike has been around forever, so there's a million videos about how to do this. So my video is definitely not a how-to video. I mean, you could use it if you want, but there are way better videos out there that show everything a lot more in depth than I'm gonna do. And that's because I probably have to get off, use my phone, probably do a couple pictures or watch videos myself on how to do this. So that's the reason why I said there's gonna be better videos. But what I'm doing is I'm cutting all these here, loosening up my bike. Now that we're all loose, that's loose. See, what else do we need to cut? That's for the most part, that seems pretty good. So we're gonna go to the other side and do the same thing. What I like to do is label things because there's gonna be a bunch of cords and plugs and everything. So I just disconnected the coil switch, it's right here. I'm gonna label that. Obviously you'll figure it out because everything connects only one way, but just to make things easy, we'll just label that coil switch. I saw somebody do this before. I've never done it before, but I kind of like the idea. Instead of having to do a bunch of plug and play, you kind of just put the switch on there itself, then you know which one it is at all times. Coil switch. So we can remove the spark plugs here, because we're not gonna need this. We can remove this guy. Coil switch done. These cords. So you get all this. This is what a Sportster is, but this is how I'm talking about. You do a coil switch, because you're gonna run that coil far back and then bring it in. So you're actually gonna need that self-adhering tape. I bought this on Amazon. Self-fusing silicone tape. I bought it on Amazon 2-pack for like 12 bucks. Now, I just took off the ignition. It was here on the other side. It's held together by this bracket, and this is held together by the plastic guard. So honestly, it helps to just have a pair of, I guess, wire cutters. Not really wire cutters, but these little guys here, cheap. You can get them at 99 cents. Now these are Harbor Freight, less than $1, if not free. Obviously the spring-loaded ones are much nicer and faster, but these work just fine. So what we do is we can remove this spark plug that wraps around. Get this guy going, so we have new ones. And that's pretty much it. Next we'll have to get these loosened up, so I'm gonna see if I have a torque setting for that one. If not, I will have to go to Ace Hardware. The biggest one I got here is T30. It's not T50 and it's not T30, so let's see what I got. Side note too, it also helps to do everything at once. If you plan on doing it, you might as well do it all at once. What I mean by that is the speedometer relocation, I'm gonna do that too. And since you're gonna get access to, you're gonna have access to it, the wires, you're better off doing that now. Shield off. You're better off having access to your wires now, where it's easy to get to all your stuff. It is a lot of screws, so you just gotta be careful of that, but it can be done. At least one or two of them, if you can't get all of them. That way you know you can match them up, like, oh, these are the 4 clamps. Then you need access to these guys, so you can take the housing down for this. Sometimes they don't work, so that's why I have 2 different sizes. I think one is in millimeters, the other one is in inches, so really helps out in times like this. We have these odd sizes. So word advice, this Amazon buy, I can link it in the description if you guys want, but it really does help having 2 different sizes of these Allen wrenches. Put my screws back in there. To a L wrench, to a Phillip head, like, it's pretty crazy. Like, I feel like when Harley made these bikes, they must have like ran out of screws, because the variety of screws that you'll see on this thing is just crazy. All right. we'll get this guy and move it down over here. I think we can get the top clamp on. The new top clamp can come on. This is gonna get tucked in kind of like that, right on the stanchions. All these wires here are gonna get tucked, rolled on top. Also, DK Customs does include these little rubber-ish washer. They help with the vibration because you're gonna relocate the coil here. Obviously it shakes like crazy, so they include these guys so that it can kind of limit. I'm gonna spray paint these black because on my last bike I did not, and it just, you got all this nice stuff. Like, I don't understand why they don't come black already. I got some black spray paint. All right, now what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start, give me a little light. I'm gonna go ahead and start unplugging the wires and then putting on one in each end, putting 1 in 1, 2 in 2. That just makes it easier when I unattach them and flip them to the other side. It just makes it easy to know which wire goes where. So like this 2 wires here obviously go together. How do they click? Like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 in 1, just so when I go back to it, it just makes my life so much easier. 1, 1. Is it necessary? No. All the wires only go one way, so it really is not necessary to do this. But it makes it certain that you get the right wire every time. Never used self-fusing tape. Last time I used duct tape, so bear with me. It's my first time using it. All right, so try to get the wrap in. This stuff works pretty damn phenomenal. I'm honestly really impressed how sticky it is to itself, but to nothing else. I have the coil relocation and starter over here loose, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna attach it now. All right, so what had happened was I did the speedometer relocation. All the videos that I saw were from Joker Machines, where the speedometer and the little light that go underneath, like the high beam, the turn signals and all that, come attached. So it's just so much easier to relocate the entire entity and put that there. Well, they stopped making that part, and all they make is the actual speedometer relocation. Or at least I couldn't find anywhere else on the internet. I checked everywhere: Cycle Gear, JP Customs, or JP Cycles, Revzilla, all of them. It's all not out of stock, and it doesn't look like they're making them anymore. So what you have to do is you have to buy an extension, which I can't really find, or at least not cheap. I found like 60, 70 bucks. But obviously when you reattach this by the fork, even if I go as high as I can on the fork, this is not nearly long enough to actually plug into the bar clamp. To be fair, I actually like that style a lot better. I like the circle look without having the digital or the actual like gauges on there, like I said, the high beam and the lights and the turn signals. I like it a lot better having those things on the top clamp. It looks so much cleaner and so much nicer. I just never have soldered before, but I did buy a kit. I bought some heat shrink for $5. It's an entire case, lifetime supply, it looks like. I bought essentially a starter kit. It's a heat gun, it has good reviews, came with lead, came with that little paste that you're supposed to put on it. I have some wire here from when I did the sprinklers, some just 18 gauge it looks like, and it already comes with like a 6 already in there. So I think these wires are 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's 6 wires. There's 5 wires in here, so I need to get one more and cut it out. So I'm gonna try my best. This is my first time soldering. We'll see how it goes. All right, so cut the wires. Easy with those ones. Just use a wire cutter, super easy. It has the gauges on there. They're really cheap. You can get them on Amazon, Home Depot, anywhere. Really make sure that your razor blade is super sharp, because when you're cutting down the line of this wiring or any of the wiring, you want to make sure that you're cutting just the plastic, not the actual wire itself, because you're going to ruin it. All right, and also I did see that I do have two different types. I have a solid wire and a string wire. I forget what they're called. I did watch some videos that said that it can be done. You just got to wrap these ones around the solid one. All right, so it came with a little paste. I wrapped the wire on there. Pretty good. This is my first time ever doing this, so I put a bunch of that. It'd be nice if I did have a holder, but I do not, so I'm just gonna try to prop this up on some stuff. I have my wire cut here. Wire goes on top. Try feeding it on top. Let's try. It's my first attempt at it. Don't know if it's good or bad. Guess we'll find out when I connect it back on the bike, see if it works. Hopefully. The bike has its coil and ignition relocated. Wires are tucked. And everything looks good. I took off the chain guide, or for the belt guide, I guess in this sense. Front fender off. Moved up the mini apes a little bit higher. I thought they look a little cooler. And, you know, still pretty comfortable. All right, let's see if she starts up. I do need gas, neutral. Everything works. This is the bike now. I'll show you a picture in the morning time, but looking real nice. So everything is said and done. Looks phenomenal. Turned out great. This is the third time I've done it. This is the first time I've done it all by myself. Everything was pretty smooth, straightforward. Required some patience. I did put some bandanas on the four extensions just because I like the way it looks. I would love to have those little, I think they're called like stanchions, the gators, whatever they're called, the little black things that go on the stanchions. But everyone always removes them when I buy the bikes, and they're such a pain in the butt to put on. It's not even worth the trouble for me, at least, unless I replace the tire or do something. Until then, I leave it as is. The DK cut or the Joker machine did come with these little corrugated tubings. It doesn't do anything, but yeah, I don't know, kind of cleaned it up, made it look a little nicer, so I like it. So I kept it on there. Other than that, you want to make sure all these wires in here are loose, and I can move them all. Nothing is pinched. For the relocation, when I said I did add about 12 inches, this is what I was talking about, because obviously these two were connected like right here, so there wasn't enough room for it to go up top to the indication lights. So all I did was add it, pretty much cut it here, add the extension all the way up, and then it just connects right there to the back of the indication light. So I added about a foot, and it was more than enough to reach all the way up there. No trouble, no trying to be like, oh no, I'm not gonna make it. It was easy peasy. So everything turned out just pretty great. I do need to get a tuner because as you can see, my pipes are definitely kind of discolored and they run overly hot. That's because I have the stage 1 on there and it's not tuned. But other than that, the bike looks great. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I do read them all. I do reply to them all. And as always, have a rad day, guys.
To say